Can't believe I didn't tape. So now we got this anger management chart that has to do with the decision tree on how we problem solve. So the notion is that I had a problem, that problem got to me, I suppressed it or expressed it. Now you see that it says you reacted, you blew it. Well, now we're going to try a different approach. A different approach is I'm going to attempt some notion towards anger control, and anger control equal problem solving. So the first question you have to think to yourself before you actually blow up, and you've heard me say this, if something is in your face, some problem is in your face, how about do a 30-second timeout? Do a 1-minute timeout. You know, you can be as crazy as you want in a minute from now as you are right now. So just the idea that I'm going to back up and think about, do I really want to yell and scream, or can I just find another solution? So the very first question is to choose how to respond. If you choose how to respond, the first thing you need to ask is this my problem? Is this my problem? I've had people come up to me all the time telling me about what's going on in their life, and I try to be empathetic, but if you're not careful, you can get real involved, and then it makes you mad, especially with your own kids. When your kids were pushed around at school, when there's a bully, you know, or maybe they were unfairly graded, you know, is this, no, it's my child's problem, it's my friend's problem. So is this your problem? If that answer is yes, then of course the next question is, can I solve the problem? But if the answer is no, then is this their problem that you're just talking to about? And then the idea is, let's just listen. Now we go back the other way. Think about what I just said. Is this your problem? Yes, it's my problem. Next question, can I solve this problem? Not every problem is solvable. Not every problem is solvable. Most are, but some aren't. You know, the fact is, I can't change Katrina came through and destroyed New Orleans. And if I think about it, it tears me up. It really does. I can't change if you guys drove up outside. You know why my fence is down. Somebody set it on fire. I can't change they burned down my fence. You know, I can't. It's not my fence. It's somebody's fence. It belongs to the guy on the other side of the street. I don't know. On the other side of the yard, it's his fence. Can I solve that problem? If the answer is, again, no, then I just got to let go. Breathe into it. Breathe into it. And if the possibility comes, maybe I just need to listen. But let's get back to, it is my problem. Can I solve this problem? Well, can I define it? A lot of times when we get into reactivity, we get so instantaneous in the way we react to something, we haven't even considered that there's possible solutions out there. But a lot of times you've got to define it. Seriously, is it a financial problem? Is it an emotional problem? I mean, is this just baggage? Is the problem I'm having right now really the result that I went through a broken marriage a couple of years ago and I have trust issues? You know, truly, is it that my partner is late? Is that really the problem? Or is it the problem that I have trust issues that are related to past relationships that are affecting me now? Can I define it? Is it my partner being late and there's a chronic problem with them being late? Or is the problem me that I am just stuck with trust issues from a previous relationship? Can I define it? Carrie had mentioned before about you versus I statements. The idea that I choose to be happy because by blaming you, I pollute my own environment and I feel bad. But if I don't blame you and I keep it to an I statement, which is I need to push away and take care of myself and find my own life versus you make me mad, again, define the problem. If I've defined the problem and the answer, of course, is no, then you talk to friends. We get calls all the time. Last night we met some friends and informally they just sort of brainstorming with us about things going in their life, and informally, because maybe we have more experience, we got our suggestions. Maybe that's all they needed. But if I've defined it and I've laid out a possible solution, you know, I'm a licensed therapist in the state of Florida, and I guarantee you, if you come sit down with me, I'm going to brainstorm with you, but I don't pick a solution, you do. And as you pick a solution, you might say, hey, doc, you think it's okay? And I say, well, you know, if the choice is that looks reasonable, then after you try it, if it's failure or success, you come back, you talk to me, we try again. So the idea, do I have a solution? Did I pick a solution? I picked a solution. The example I gave you about your partner being late and you can't discriminate whether it's a trust issue from a past relationship because you find you're temperamental, you tend to blow up easily. But now I've made the decision to talk to my partner about the chronic lateness. So now I'm sitting with my partner talking to them about this lateness. And the first thing you got to ask yourself as you're talking to them, these are questions that are reflective to yourself. How are my nonverbals? Nonverbals, my facial expressions. You know, the reason I'm not asking how are your verbals, because you already made the decision to talk about it. So we already know what your verbals are going to be. But how am I, what are my voice inflections? How am I projecting myself? Because if in fact my nonverbals are hostile or aggressive, I need to take a time out. You back up. Hey, look, this is really getting to me more than I realized. Let me take a few minutes. But assuming you've checked yourself, self-checked, that your nonverbals are okay, I always ask that when people are trying to work through problems, have a mirror somewhere in the background so you can make sure. Sometimes when we talk about a past negative event, we tend to bring up that recorded history in here, and we've got facial expressions, body language we don't even know we got. We don't even know we look angry. And to be frank with you, some of you guys, because of just the way God gave you features, you look pissed and you're not. It's just your normal facial expression. So then if I'm not, in fact, giving you negative nonverbals, what's my body language? Where are my hands? You know, am I standing with my arms like this? Am I leaning forward? Assuming we've gotten through all that, that we have no non-negative verbals, that we have no hostility through facial expression, body language, then we get to the idea is that, you know, am I focusing on the solution? People tend to bring up the past in a competitive way to show you you're wrong. That's not solutions focused. That's problem focused. That's okay, I'm not getting enough satisfaction. You're not feeling bad enough. We don't go there. When we're solution focused, let's solve the problem. And the problem I'm trying to solve is that my stomach turns into knots when you are late, and I can't tell the difference between what happened to me 5 years ago when I didn't know my wife was having an affair, and I always listened to the excuse about late at work, and now here I am living this again. I'm trying to get rid of this because I believe you're a different person. I believe in you. Can you help me with this? Okay? I'm not going to bring up last week, last month, last year. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay focused on the solution. When I get to that, and we've worked this out, and this is an actual example where somebody said, because I'm medical and because I tend to be late, I'll page you, I'll let you know, give you time I expect to be home. After we work through this, I actually say, you know, I love you. That's what the feedback is. We did good. I want to thank you for doing this with me. I think we've got this problem solved, and now we're happy. Now here's what's interesting. You heard me say this idea about the straw that broke the camel's back. I've used that in anger management, you know, and of course it's sort of a glib question, which is when the straw that broke the camel's back caused you to go into rage, what's the problem? Is it the straw or is it the accumulation of straws? See, I've just given you the answer. Often the problem we try to solve is just the tip of the iceberg, but you guys started storing problems a long time ago. And that suppressed anger that's been building up, we've got dozens of straws, dozens of topics. So the idea behind this decision tree is, can you find one problem? One, I don't care how little it is. I would like it to be a medium problem if possible. Sit down and work with your partner to just solve one problem, because if you can do one problem, guess what happens? Over time, we take the pressures off the relationship, and the relationship gets better. Relationship gets better. So understand, yes, it is the straw that broke the camel's back, that idea of suppressed anger. There was something that set me off, but let's start reducing the pressure in this relationship, okay? I hope you enjoy this idea. I print it out. People use it all the time, just to sit back and say, is this my problem? A lot of you guys are on autopilot. You're triggered into being angry because you're so used to being that way. You've become reactive. It's been imprinted. You're programmed to be reactive. Just a simple idea about, is this my problem? Is this their problem? How do we work for a solution? Let me make this as an I statement. You'd be surprised at how well it'll work for you. Okay?